Okay, guys, welcome to today's podcast. You guys are here on the Profit for Contractors podcast. If you're not a contractor that doesn't want to improve their business and find out some of the key aspects of, how to leverage professionals like Bob, who's an amazing accountant, and I'll get Bob to introduce himself, and on the bookkeeping side and the finance side. And then on the other side being Kayla, who's amazing and specializing in helping contractors, but Kayla on the legal side of things. If you're a contractor and you're not interested in learning out how to leverage that, you definitely want to stop the podcast. If you're a space cadet or somebody at NASA or something like that and not a contractor, you probably want to get off it. But if you are interested in getting these insights from experts on things that you need to be aware of, some of the mistakes you want to prevent or stop making on the accounting side, bookkeeping side, and legal side, you come to the right place. So, again, welcome to today's podcast. I'm going to introduce Bob Gauvreau and Associates. Bob, tell us a little about who you are, my man. Congratulations, by the way, on your new cottage. Love it, dude. I love it. Tell us a little bit about who you are.
I am a cottage owner.
That's it, man. I love
New
it.
thing. Yeah, guys, thanks, Andrew. I love it. You know what? It's great that we've done this a few times now, and you're actually saying my last name perfectly. Like, it took us a while, but you've nailed it now, my friend. So that's awesome. So for those of you who I haven't connected with, my name is Bob Gauvreau. I'm a founding partner at Gauvreau and Associates, one of the country's leading CPA firms focusing on working with entrepreneurs and small businesses, helping them understand and gain financial clarity in their business and realize extraordinary financial results in their business as well.
I love it. Beautiful. And you've got a full bookkeeping team, an accounting team. I mean, you're not just, Bob, as I would say in the trade world, Bob in the truck. Right. You're a real entrepreneur, right?
We've got a team of 20. Just hired our 20th person here starting soon. And we've grown and scaled our business over the last few years as well. So not only are we just talking about the experience and having that financial background, but we're actually growing and scaling business at the same time. So we have our own experience to bring to the table as well. We obviously work with a whole bunch of contractors and other different types of entrepreneurs, whether it's an online business or professionals. We have a whole realm, but certainly have a newfound niche market working with contractor businesses.
Yeah, absolutely. Love it. And but I would let everybody know, I'm crazy ass picky on the legal side, on the accounting side. I think one of my arch nemesis, not so much legal, Kayla, but on the accounting side, definitely one of my arch nemesis was accountants and bookkeepers. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Kayla, over to you.
Hey guys, I think I've met a lot of you, but for those of you that I haven't met, my name is Kayla Kwinter. I am a lawyer specializing in construction law. I specialize particularly on the litigation side, but I do draft contracts as well. I work for a full service firm called Torque & Mains in downtown Toronto, and I love working with Profit for Contractors. Looking forward to this.
Love it. So let's get right into this. Today's topic is, we're going to heavy emphasis on mistakes, okay? It's one thing talking about the right things, but I think the one that gets us into trouble is mistakes. And I'd have to say, it's really important to know where you're making mistakes, but I'd say it's actually even more important to know where you're making mistakes, but you don't know it. Right? That's a dangerous place. Both of those areas we're going to be going into today. So let's get into it. So, guys, I've just got some questions here laid out for you. If we look at, I know it's hard to say number one mistake, but if you'd say what is one of the top mistakes that people make when it comes to, we'll start with you, Bob. Maybe it might be something similar for you and Kayla. I don't know, but let's say on the accounting side, what comes to mind?
Not having clarity on where your business is at is the number one mistake that I find. And what that means is you don't have your bookkeeping up to date. You don't have your financial numbers of how your business is performing up to date. You're flying blind. And a lot of times when you're in this position and you don't have your information up to date, you're on false pretenses. You're making decisions based on false and misleading information. Also meaning that, hey, we've got a profit of 50% until you actually get your numbers caught up and you have a profit of 10%, which could absolutely bury you as a business owner. So not having up-to-date financials that are reliable and are able to use to provide yourself with some good information to make the proper decisions on how to grow, how to expand, how to price in your business, right? People who aren't up to date and don't have access to this information, biggest mistake that we see, aside from running out of cash resources, that's probably my number 2 on business failure in any industry.
Okay, cool. Love it. Okay, we're going to get into that. Kayla, what would you have to say? And then again, I'm going to ask you guys, if there's similarities, then we'll dig in as a whole. If there's differences, then we'll separate too. By the way, everybody knows listening on this podcast, if you've had listened to one of them, that this is all real. This isn't some scripted, I don't know, waste of time podcast where it's like there's some hidden agenda. There's no. I'm going to try and reduce the curse a bit, but there's no bullshit hidden agenda. It's about bringing you guys as much value as possible, so you can prevent a lot of the hell that I went through and a lot of the hell that our clients have gone through, with your contracting business. So, Kayla, what would you say would be your number 1 top mistake from a legal standpoint? I see you're muted, by the way.
Thanks, Andrew.
Yeah,
I'm
no
going to take a page out of Bob's book and I'm going to talk about my top 2 mistakes that I see people make. The first one is, and I'm also going to borrow a phrase from you, Andrew, the handshake deal and thinking that everyone that you're contracting with is your best friend. Especially in the home renovation world, owners feel very personally invested in their projects. If something goes wrong, they're not going to be happy with you. They're not going to be your best friend. They're not going to give you a pass. So I think that the number 1 mistake that I see people making at the front end is thinking that they don't need to have a written contract. It doesn't need to be long. It doesn't need to be complicated, but having something in writing that sets out what the agreement is between you and the person that you're working for, it just has so much value. And it's not even about having that contract signed. I mean, you should get it signed, but the signature isn't the important part. The really important part is having something in writing that sets out what both of you think your obligations are to each other. And
Wow.
It can avoid a huge headache down the road.
Wow, I love it. So we're going to get into that as well. I love it does. I mean, let's be clear. We prefer it to be signed, but let's just talk about what the basic steps are towards this, right? So okay, so let's start with you, Bob. Let's just spend 5 minutes on this area of people being able to the importance of this top mistake of not having their data usable, and so they actually use it and up to date. Tell us a little bit about why is it that raises to the cream of the crop.
Yeah. And again, I think the number 1 risk of business failure is a lack of cash flow, but I think a contributing factor is not knowing what your numbers are. So why is that the biggest mistake? Because you're flying blind, right? And this is one of those mistakes I feel like a lot of business owners make, not necessarily just in the construction industry, but sometimes it's worth it to pay a little extra money so that you're not screwing things up, right? Just getting that certainty that things are okay. Because a lot of times when people are flying blind, they have no idea, but they're trying to be thrifty and cost savings, but they don't have the right information, which is more and more costly. One of the things that I see all the time with people who aren't up to date on their bookkeeping or on their accounting or their tax filing or payroll, looking at their fees that they pay to the government, my Lord, like the cost associated with fines and penalties and interest is way more than the cost of actually paying somebody to do it properly, which not only avoids all those fees and penalties, but it gives you that up-to-date information. Because truthfully, guys, if you do not have that information at your fingertips at how your business is performing, how do you know what the next step is? And how do you know what you did yesterday was the right way to do it, right? We need to have that confidence in our business. And this goes right into selling, right? If you're confident in your margins and you're confident in how your business is performing, how much more confident are you going to be when you walk up to a client and you're commanding a higher price, right? So, and how do you know if a higher price is good or bad or whatever if you don't know what your financial results are in your business? So the foundation of really running a business is around the data that is your business performance, whether it's good, whether it's bad, whether it's ugly. If it's bad or ugly, let's make a decision to change it now, as opposed to waiting a year and we get ourselves into such a big hole that we can't claw ourselves out of it. So financial data up to date is detrimental to the success of a business.
I love it. So everybody knows that this company is the name of Profit for Contractors, has a purpose, right? It's not hope for contractors, it's profit for contractors, right? I'm going to tell you guys right now, man, I'm having to stitch my lips here. But anyways, fuck it. Here's the thing. If you're listening in on this and you're making decisions heavily based upon emotion, okay? I alluded to, I used to love Star Trek, still do love Star Trek, okay? Grew up with it, awesome, love it. If you don't like it, man, anyways, so sad, too bad. But there's Captain Kirk and there's Captain Spock, okay? When you go to make decisions, team, you have to make it based upon logic first. Then you can get emotional afterwards. If you're on this podcast, and we're going to share the links to get in touch with Bob and Kayla or PFC. Okay, if you guys want to get some insights, but I'm going to tell you right now, if you are questioning whether or not you're pricing your jobs profitably, okay, if you do not know your break-even margin, if you do not know that you're tracking, we call it progressing the profit on your jobs. That means at every stage of the job, I don't give a shit if it's service. I don't care if you freaking do service calls, guys, and all you do is like 2 hour, 3 hour average calls. It doesn't freaking matter. Whether you do a year, 1 month, 2 weeks projects, it doesn't matter. You need to make damn sure that every step along the way you are progressing the profits. If you do not know whether or not you can afford to hire somebody, I'll just give a couple more. Okay. If you do not look at your financials, minimum monthly, and have somebody in your corner that appreciates, okay, and almost holds you accountable from an accounting bookkeeping perspective to look at your numbers and know how to use your numbers on a monthly basis, I'm going to tell you right now. Number one, you're not a business owner. Okay, you're a wing it owner. Okay, that's it. You're just winging it, and honestly, you're not taking things seriously. Part of this podcast is for you guys to listen in and maybe step up your accountability to yourself. If you are not doing those things, then guess what? You are putting your fucking life, you're putting your freedom, your control, your family, all that stuff at risk. And the same thing is going to be applied over here with Kayla in a second. Because the numbers are the language of business. And if you cannot consciously and logically know that the decisions you're making and I just skimmed the surface, everybody. I'm just skimming it regarding these things. If you do not know these things, you sure as hell need to be asking your accountant, why are you not telling me that these are things I need to know? That's number one. Number two, why are you not showing me how to use this data? And number three, how come I'm not using it like today? How come I don't know where things are at from a profitability perspective? And my last little rant on this, okay, which goes hand in hand with this. This question irks me, makes me almost like have an evil giggle. Okay, hey coach, yeah, we have we have these calls like a little, let's call it a fit call, right? Calibration call to see, hey, is this contractor fit for PFC? And I love it when the people go, man, like, so how can I help you? Well, I just don't know where all my money goes. What are you talking about? I know. I did $500,000 last year, or 2 years ago. Now I did $750,000, and I thought I'd have more money in the bank. I got less. Where the hell did all the money go? If that's a question in your mind, you need to get engaged with Bob. Okay. Now we're going to be talking about some other mistakes and stuff of that nature, But I'll bring it now over to Kayla. Kayla, this sort of goes a little bit hand in hand with what you're talking about, right? Like going in blind.
Absolutely. I think it's the exact same thing, actually, Andrew. I think that what both you and Bob are talking about is being organized, right? Having the information that you need available at your fingertips. And I can tell you, as the lawyer, as the person that people call when something goes wrong, I can tell, right? Sometimes a client will call me and they'll say, the contract said that I only had to do X, Y, and Z in the scope of work, but now the client wants me to do all these other things, and that was never part of the agreement. And I say, oh, that's great. Okay, let me see a copy of the contract. And they say, oh, no, well, we didn't have it written down, right? And then you get other clients who come to you and they say, here's my contract. Here are all of the invoices that I sent. Here are my financial documents. And they're organized and they know exactly what they've got going on. And I think that really affects the ability of contractors to realize the profit that they're looking for. So as I said earlier, as I started to say earlier, I think the most important thing about having a contract is that it clearly sets out the expectations between you and the client. And it makes it really easy for you to look at a piece of paper and say, this is what I agreed to do. And if you want me to do more, you've got to pay me more. And there's never any room for argument or for discussion. And the homeowner can never come to you and say, oh, but you also agreed that you were going to do X, Y, Z. Mm-hmm. And I think it's really important on that note that when you have a contract, it sets out clearly the scope of work. And then, especially if you're doing a fixed price contract, you want the contract to say that any additional work is going to be codified in a change order. And if you've got that provision, and if you've got a provision that says the owner doesn't have to pay for and the contractor doesn't have to perform any extra work that's not in a change order, you never have to get into a dispute about whether something was or wasn't part of the contract and whether something is or isn't supposed to cost the client more money.
You know, it's interesting you say this. When I'm on these podcasts, I don't really know where we're going to go, and I just trust. You know, when you have great people surrounding you, you know that you can trust the conversation is going to go in the right direction. So here's what comes to mind for me. So listen in on this, guys. I'm going to give you two little, I guess you call it micro tests, like in 2 minutes or less. Here we go. So imagine you come home, all you trades guys, okay, and you could be tradeswomen, but let's say trades guys, you come home and you say to your wife, hey man, hey love, let's, we're going to go on this amazing vacation, and it's going to be great. And she's like, oh, that's awesome. And then you go, yeah, it's going to be like, we've really deserved this. Something that we've needed for a long time. And she's like, yeah, absolutely. So then you leave, you go off to work, you come back at the end of the day, come walking through the door, and your wife's all excited. She's like, okay, I want to find out the details. Like, where are we going? When are we leaving? Okay? And like, what's included in this thing? And lo and behold, you've gone and you've initiated, you've gone, you booked it in, you're told by somebody, hey man, here's this resort. You just like, you know what, that sounds good to me, sign me up. She goes, what's the name of the place? And you say, it's Bob and Kayla's vacation place, whatever. She looks it up, and the reviews are terrible. People are getting sick. The place has been stormed by, militia and all these different bad things. There's a freaking volcano about to go off. What happens? All of a sudden, guess what? Your wife's going, what are you, nuts? Why did you book us in on this thing? Now, how does this have any relevance? Guys, if you're just winging it, you might have the right intentions. But if you don't have the right data and you don't know what you're signing yourself up to, you don't know even what you're signing your team up to. Okay? With that being said, your clients want you to have these things in place. A lot of people think, oh my God, contract. Oh, you want me to get in touch with Kayla and put this thing together? Yes, because your clients will appreciate that. Do you think your clients are going to trust more a person that goes, yeah, man, no problem, let's just shake on it? Or they're going to trust somebody that's professional and say that, listen, this is really important for you and for us that we're on the same page. Because I want to make sure that this is a relationship that is not just only for this job, but for other jobs, and that when we finish this, that you actually want to refer us. So to do that, we need to have a contract in place so we're absolutely clear. Like, right? Am I right, Kayla? Bob?
Yeah, Andrew, I couldn't agree more. First of all, I want to thank you for naming your shit resort after me and Bob. I think we both really appreciate that.
Like that?
Yeah, I think that there's, from a marketing standpoint, I mean, and Andrew, I'm sure you guys talk about this all the time, but every interaction that you have with your client is a marketing opportunity, right?
Yes.
So when you meet your client and you say, here's a contract, and it's easy to understand, it's thoughtful, and it exists, right? It's right off the bat, your client goes, oh, okay, wow, you're organized, you're professional, right? It really elevates the level of professionalism that you're showing to your clients. That's the first thing. The second thing is that the contract protects you as the contractor, but it also protects your client. And to be able to say to your client, I've got both of our best interests at heart, and I've got this contract because it protects both of us, again, elevates the level of professionalism, instills trust in your client, and I think starts your relationship off really on the right foot.
I love it. I love it. When you look at the cost, by the way, I'm gonna nip this one really quickly. If you look at the cost on the accounting or on the legal side, I'm gonna nip the legal side like in like 60 seconds. Here we go. Ask yourself, what is the value of a job, the average job? Okay, most contractors would say to me, like this, there'd be big ranges, but it'd be like, oh, $5,000, could be 50, could be $100,000. Okay, ready? Here we go. You go up to a client, you say to them, look, this is why I have this in place. I'm not sure, by the way, you might want to write this script down, guys, because it works. Say, hey, hey, Bob and Kayla. Say Bob and Kayla are the clients. Hey, Bob and Kayla, I just wanted to tell you that we've got this contract in place. It's to protect you, it's to protect us. It's actually to protect my team as well. So my team knows exactly what it is that we've agreed to, so that they execute on that. You get what you want. Everybody's happy. With that being said, I'm still not sure if we're a fit for you. This is the beginning of our conversation. But I will tell you this, Bob and Kayla, if you do engage with any other contractors and they don't have a contract in place, again, like I said, I'm not sure if we're going to be the right fit for you, but make sure you get that in place, because there are a lot of contractors out there that say that they're professional, that say that they're skilled, that say they're going to do all this work for you. And if they're not looking out for your best interests, you seriously need to think about whether or not they're the right fit for you. There you go, guys. Think about this. If that doesn't land you one freaking extra job a month, there's your freaking legal paid for like the next year. Seriously. True? Kayla? Oh, you've muted.
Sorry,
No problem.
Anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely that's true. I couldn't agree more. The other thing that I want to add to that is that the contract protects you later, right? So if you get into a fight with your client, having those obligations set out in writing can save you a ton of time down the road if you get into a fight. And once you're in a legal dispute, time is money. I mean, I know they always say that time is money, but once you're in a legal dispute, you're paying your lawyer. You're paying for every hour that your lawyer spends navigating that dispute. And if you've got something in writing that sets out what your obligations are, you may well fight about it. It happens all the time. People fight about contracts, but man, the fight is a lot easier and it's a lot more circumscribed when you know exactly what the parameters are that you're dealing with.
I love it.
Having that document really just, it may cost you a little bit of money up front, but you do it once and you can use it on every project, and you've got a template that will suit you for every project you do for the rest of your days. And it'll save you a ton of money in legal fees if you get into a fight later.
Beautiful. So there you go. It's reusable. Over to you, Bob. Like, as far as the cost, right? People will often, and look, this might be sensitive, okay? But that's why we do these things, okay? We bring to the table the shit that other people won't bring to the table, okay? So everybody listening in, hopefully it's not my wife. God love you, Jen, okay? But to a certain degree, Jen will say that, we have different opinions, but let's just say that from my perspective, it's like, and maybe it's not politically correct, but whatever. It was like, I basically had to fire my own wife. And just be clear, my wife is a chartered accountant. Like, not just learn the books. No, she's actually a certified CPA, okay? So she's a pretty smart cat, okay? The reality was, where am I going with this? The reality is that, what I wanted out of Jennifer was not the things that she was willing to put the amount of time into. And that's totally cool, okay? But guess what? At least she knew her shit. When you look at a lot of contractors, especially a lot of the people that we attract seem to be family-based businesses. And Bob, you probably know where I'm going with this. If you are the wife and you're doing the books, I'm going to tell you right now that there's probably about I don't know where I'm getting this, I'm just going with my gut over the last freaking 15 years. Probably about a 70% to, I'm being conservative, chance that you're not the right person for the job. But Bob, why am I saying that?
Well, probably because we've transitioned a lot of those husband-wife teams out of doing the administrative bookkeeping tasks, right?
Mm-hmm. But what about skill set? Let's just be clear. I'll call it if I need to.
Yeah. So, and I don't even want to say that it's just, a husband-wife team. I think a lot of the times, especially when you're first starting out, right, you get an admin person, your first person who's helping you, maybe doing some invoices, and then you all of a sudden assume that they're an accounting expert and they're doing all of your reconciliations, they're paying your bills, they're entering everything, they're doing payroll. But what happens is they don't keep it up, right? You start getting a little busier, they're doing too much answering the phone and trying to invoice. But Andrew, what will be one of the things that you always say is people don't invoice quick enough, right? Like people are doing the work and then invoicing 3 months later. What the hell is that going to do for you? We need that cash flow coming in to support the business and the business's growth. So, having people who aren't capable or maybe as focused on that particular task, being bookkeeping and keeping your financial records up to date. Mm-hmm. If you don't have that, whether you're a spouse or an admin person who's kind of been thrown into this role, man, it can get dangerous. And I'll tell you as well, again, back to the whole penalty piece. What happens is you don't keep up, you're paying more in penalties for late filing and interest costs than you would be if you just outsource the damn thing anyway. Totally. Right? So what we have tended to do is we can operate as an outsourced bookkeeping firm. And I think this is why Andrew is talking about this, because not only is it a problem for not keeping information up to date, but man, is it straining on relationships, right? When you're the contractor and your spouse is doing the bookkeeping or trying to keep the financial records up to date, you're trying to run the business and your spouse doesn't give you the information you need to make the right decisions. Oh my God, strain on a relationship. Finance is always going to be number one strain on relationships. So let's figure out how we get that outsourced at an efficient cost. And you can focus on what's really important, which is driving the revenue and collecting the revenue and pricing your jobs properly.
I love it. So I got a quick question. I got to put the skills things to the test. Here we go. Okay, and then we're going to move on to another couple of questions, okay? Kayla, question? Ready? How long did it take you to become a lawyer?
Well, I mean, if you start from my university degree, my law school degree, my articling, so at least 7 years. Okay, so we got 7. Okay, now you came out at 7, and I mean, you knew everything, right? You had all the experience you needed, right? Oh, totally. Mm-hmm. Right. Exactly. How long would you say it took before you came? Like, hey, and by the way, you're specialized. Let me just highlight that. You're specialized. You're not a lawyer to be the lawyer of all lawyers. True? Mm-hmm. So how long did it take you to get good on the contracting side of things? I mean, I would go so far as to say that lawyers and anyone in a professional designation and contractors as well, right? You're always getting better. You're always improving. So I totally agree. But let's just talk about just competency, like a year, 2 years. Sure, I'd say until I felt that I was confident in my specialization. Yeah. Probably 2, 3, 4 years. Perfect. Okay. So let's give the benefit of the doubt. We're gonna go 7 plus, let's say not the full 3. Let's just say a couple. So we got 9. Beauty. I hear 9, right? Do we hear 10? Do we hear 10? Do we hear 10? Bob, how long did it take you to become a chartered accountant?
So 6 years undergraduate degree, master's degree in management and accounting, plus 2.5 years of articling, so 8.5 years. At that point, I then started my own firm, right? So, and it took me, probably a good 3-4 years before I was really like locked in. With that, to kind of echo what Kayla said, though, every week we see something new.
Absolutely. Okay, perfect.
So
Yeah, everybody, go ahead.
we build on our experience from that, and we know how to problem solve it. But something comes up, if it's not every week, it's every other week that we go, okay, this is different. We've seen 30 cases that are very similar. How do we apply what we know over our 20 years of experience to fix this situation?
Okay, love it. Okay, so we got 9, we got like 89 years for Bob, but no, we got 9, and we got like say 12. Guys know where we're going with this, but I'm gonna put the nail in the coffin. It took me 5 years to become a licensed electrician. Then I went back, got my electronics engineering, technologist. So there's another like 2.5, yada, yada, yada. Why am I going down this path? It took that long for us in our field just to get a designation. Then it took years for us to get experience. Then we're doing this on a daily basis. And by the way, all you tradies listening in, you freaking know this. As a Sparky, I know the code changes. Yeah. Don't hire me to be your electrician. And I consider myself pretty damn good at what? Robotics, not wiring houses. Andrew, can you wire my house? Yeah, I could figure it out. But do I know, am I really good at that? No, I'm an automation expert. Okay. Contracting, right? Accounting for business owners, right? Not an accountant like my wife is, right? So guys, the point is, these are experts. There's a reason it took that much time for them to learn this stuff so that they can bring it to the table in the forefront and basically be your expert voice and insights and stay on top of shit, okay? If you're thinking, and I know you have the right intent, all those, either spouses that are doing the bookkeeping and accounting or the admin person, I know you got the right intent, but I hate to tell you, you're not going to see the shit that the owner needs to see. Come to grips with it. There are lots of other positions for you to be. Don't try to be the lawyer. Just like, don't try to be a freaking electrician and burn your freaking house down and maybe kill some people. Don't try to be the accountant and the bookkeeper. That's a fool's game. Just to save a few bucks, trust me, it's going to cost you like 1,000x, if not your whole freaking business, if you don't listen to this podcast, okay? So hopefully that was a rude awakening. Reach out to these two people. Reach out to us, okay? So let's talk about the next area, okay?
Andrew, can I jump in there for one
Yeah,
second?
no problem.
I have one thing I just want to say, and I don't know if Kayla feels the same way about her profession, but I feel like our industry, not only, it takes a long time to get experience, but then there's also, an approach. So yes, you want to go to somebody who's got the experience and qualification to do it, but you also want to go to somebody who wants to work with you too. And what I mean by that is so many business owners, so many contractors specifically, you go in and you do 12 months of work, right? Let's say you have a good bookkeeper, everything is done up, but the bookkeeper is just doing the data inputting, right? You go to the accountant for the advice and the analysis. So the accountant meets with you after they've completed your year end, which is probably 3 to 6 months after the year has happened. So we're now going back 18 months to understanding what happened 18 months ago, which was the first month of your business year that year, right? How helpful is that going to be if you're meeting every 12 months and it's already 18 months past the transaction date at the start of your year, right? If you're working with an accountant, they're not willing to be a partner with you and work actively in your business, or at least provide some guidance or some resources on their team, then you're likely working with the wrong people. And so often I hear, and this is my little pet peeve, Andrew. I went off on a rant on this last week, so I'm going to do it again right now. So many people I hear come in and go, oh, well, Joe's accountant over here says that he can deduct the airplane in his business, right? And I go, oh, that's real great for Joe. And it worked. I'm like, oh, that's great. Right until they get audited, right? You need to be working with somebody who's proactively knowing the rules and who's going to actually give you the right advice. Deducting your plane or your motorhome in your business, although it might give you a real great tax break, when you get hit with fraud charges or intention to incorrectly file your documents a few years down the road, when they look and see this large non-business asset in there. You know, we've got to do things properly. Don't hire somebody who's just going to fly by the seat of their pants, who's not going to analyze the stuff properly. Don't hire somebody who's not going to work with you or is going to, you know, only talk to you every 12 months and maybe not even explain things to you then. Just do your tax return and file it. You need advice, you need guidance, and you need to know that people have your best interests and will keep you inside that line. You know,
I love it.
Everyone wants to be in the gray zone, but be on the right side of the gray zone. Don't be outside deducting everything, never paying tax in your business. You know, it just doesn't make sense. We're trying to create income in our business. If we can't do that, then we're not a very good business owner. And if whoever is telling you that that's how you should file things, never making any income or never reporting any income, they're a really bad advisor.
Totally. Fire them.
Totally.
Fire them.
So,
Kayla, what do you have to say to this?
Yeah, I think it's similar in law. And the other thing that I would add with respect to the legal profession is that there are a lot of lawyers who have sort of a general practice, who dabble in a lot of different things, and a lot of them are great lawyers, but there are some areas of the law that are very specialized, and construction law is one of them. Construction law has a very specific body of laws. If you've heard me speak here before, you'll know that those laws were completely overhauled twice recently, once in July of 2018 and then again in October of 2019. And if you don't have a lawyer that is up to date on those changes, you're probably getting incorrect advice. And it's complicated and it's important, and you need someone that knows what they're talking about.
Totally. Absolutely. Guys, if you're sitting there going, you know, okay, I'm thinking about the legal side. I sort of highlighted some of the top bullets, like really high bullets on the accounting side, but you know, can I put a lien on somebody? You know, what documentation do I need, you know, when I'm putting a contract in place? And the list goes on and on. Like, can I actually, you know, when should I file, right, to, you know, put a hold on this property? And you're like, okay, wait a second, get a quarter. Oh, flip it. Okay, today's the lucky day. Guys, on either side, you need to have people that have your back. And the reason I have these two people on this call is, I'll be honest with you, I don't let anybody on these podcasts. Everybody knows I'm a bit of a hard ass when it comes to the professionals, because too many goddamn professionals, honestly, in my opinion, they're so full of shit. It drives me crazy. No, honestly, like, they don't know what the hell it is they're talking about. They're giving the wrong advice. And then the advice that they give is usually way too freaking late. Like, honestly, guys, on the legal side, if there's a scoreboard, on the accounting side, if there's a scoreboard, if we're playing shinny and I'm a goalie, we're playing shinny, guys, right? You guys listening in, we're on the ice. How many freaking times are we how many times are we thinking about the score? All the fucking time. How many times do you guys think about the scoreboard on the legal side and the accounting side? I don't even look at it. Well, then that's a problem. Okay, it's a serious problem. So, guys, what would be an area that we haven't covered off, or that I've brought up or haven't brought up on this call that you guys want to bring up on your side? So, Kayla, what would you say would be one thing that you'd want to bring up that we didn't cover? Got about 10 minutes left here. Let's nail a couple.
Yeah, the only other thing I want to bring up, I said at the beginning that I was going to mention the two biggest mistakes that I think people made. And
Yes.
I talked about one, but the second one is not knowing when their lien rights expire. And I want to be clear, it's not always a mistake not to register a lien. So you don't always have to register a lien. But I get calls all the time from people saying, hey, I want to register a lien. Here's the last day that I was on site and I'm owed $30,000. Can you help me? And I say, nope, sorry, you've missed your lien period. So I think the mistake there is not knowing when your lien rights expire. If you know when your lien rights expire, you can make an informed decision about whether or not you want to proceed with a lien. But you've got to know, because if you don't, you may find that you do want to register a lien, and you may call me or another lawyer, but call me, and you may find that you've missed the boat. And lien rights are very, very difficult to extend. In most cases, you can't extend your lien rights once they're
and let's just talk for a minute on that. what's the effect to the client? Like, what's the effect to the owner that's listening in, the owner of the contracting company, if they're like, oh man, I missed that window? Like, what could be the potential loss or danger?
So the thing about being a contractor that's so cool is that you have the lien right. The lien is a right against the property that you've improved through your services. And most people who are owed money by someone because they're in some commercial business don't have that opportunity, right? If Bob and I don't get paid, we can't put a lien on someone's property in order to get paid. We just have to hope they pay us like everyone else. But contractors, if you don't get paid, you can actually register a lien against the property, and that gives you a right against that property. And if the property is sold, you get paid out of the value of the home. So you get a huge security for the money that you're owed on your invoices. And as I say, there are situations in which you may choose that you don't want to register a lien, but the value is so great that you really want to make sure you know what you're giving up before you do.
I love it. I love it. So guys, again, get the advice right from the professionals and don't miss those windows. This comes back to the term that I've created with Profit Contractors, being a champion CEO. The champion CEOs, one of the things, the characteristics, I'm not going to give all the characteristics, but one of the characteristics that champion CEO recognizes is that they don't need to be the best at everything. That they bring in people that are the best to make their company the best. Don't try to memorize this shit. Don't try to, I can learn this, learn that. Guys, I can learn a lot of shit, okay? I can build a lot, I can do a lot, same as Kayla, same as Bob. Okay, if we really put our minds to it, there's quite a few things that we can accomplish. But that doesn't mean that we're going to be accomplishing it and getting the results out of it. As much as we try to put into it and be passionate and put in the time and the hours, it does not always equate. And get this out of your freaking heads that if I just put in a little bit more time, bullshit. No, it's not about a little bit more time. It's about getting other people with the right expertise that have the time to give you the time so that you can actually be a champion CEO and run your business, right? Bob, what would be, am I good, Kayla? We good on that?
Yep, I think that covers it.
The best part of what Kayla said is that she said we're cool. Like, contractors are cool, right? Love it. We are. Yeah, you said. Yeah, the cool thing about contractors, I twisted it. I didn't know that. I mean, contractors are cool, but hey, I guess we are today. Love it. So, Bob, what would you have to say? What would be something we haven't brought up here?
Yeah,
you on the table?
Maybe 2 points. One will lead into two. First is, and you've kind of alluded to this, Andrew, is the numbers don't lie, right? The numbers don't lie. If we come up with, how much money you're making on your jobs, it's not going to lie to us. It's not going to have our individual bias. The numbers are facts, right? So one of the things that I want to talk about is the fact that, and we've been doing a lot of work with contractors on this recently, the fact that you can actually do less work if you price your work properly. You might not get all the clients because we need to have the right pricing strategy in mind, but you can actually do, let's say, 80% of the work you would normally do and make double the amount of money. So part of the thing, again, numbers don't lie. Your margins have to be in the right position for you to be financially successful in your business. Now, there's two elements of it, and I know we talked about the bookkeeping piece, making sure that that is up to date. The second part is, though...
So let me just pause. I have to correct you.
What's that?
I have to correct you. Pause like, son of a bitch. I'm not getting on another one of these podcasts again.
Here we go!
Right? Like, let's take the gloves off. Numbers do lie, Bob. If you're putting in the goddamn data wrong.
Fair. And
most bookkeepers are putting, most of the data is wrong. And I swear to God, guys, I've been doing this for 15 years, and you think I'm full of it? I'm not, okay? Hopefully you're gaining some trust with what we're providing to you guys here. But in 15 years, I swear to God, probably only, and I'm being conservative again, probably only 10 clients out of, we're talking thousands, actually have had their numbers put in properly. It's It's absolutely crazy. Okay, so continue there, Bob.
Okay, so the numbers don't lie is still the right answer. Because when they're put in properly,
Oh, there you go. Okay, I agree with you now. Okay.
You know, just to again go back, you can actually do less work if you're priced properly and you're getting the right margins on your jobs. You can make a lot more money doing a lot less work. Now, what's the cool part about that? When you have everything priced properly, you're making more money. You can then focus on marketing and grow and scale your business up to make a whole lot of money. Now, you need to start off in your business, one, with the foundation, get your bookkeeping right, get it up to date so that we have access to the right information. But then you need to understand what your goals are, right? You need to understand how much money you want to make, how many rental properties you want to create, how many dollars in investments you want to have. But you need to start in day one and build a vision for what that looks like. And then you need to work with your advisors to create the roadmap in order for you to get there. Now, again, bookkeeping is the fundamentals. And then we have another program, I'm just going to throw this out there, Andrew, where we work month to month with contractors to, one, give them the reassurance that what they're doing is right, so that they're not going to come around 18 months from now when they meet with their other accountant and they find out that they've been doing things wrong, right? You can get that reassurance on a monthly basis. We're creating dashboards so you can actually see the score and how your business is performing, which is extraordinary. It gives so much power to the individual business owner. And then we can also, on a month-to-month basis, revise that roadmap. If I'm going from Toronto down to New York City, I'm not just getting in a car and following a street, right? I'm going to put it in my GPS or break out a map or whatever it is, but I want to know what streets I need to turn left on or right on in order to get there. I don't want to drive around for 14 days. I want to get there in 14 hours. So that is part of the power of strategic planning, of good financial analysis, and having a strategic financial partner to help you not only make sure you're performing well now, but creating extraordinary results in the future. That is something that every contractor should have in their business.
I love it. I love it. Beautiful. I was tempted to do a little bit of quick math just to prove it, because a lot of people call bullshit on that. A lot of people, I'll do it, because I'm not even an accountant, but I'll do it. Okay, you ready? Everybody ready? So guys, grab a pen and paper. I'm just going to do this off the fly. See what happens. Imagine you're $1 million. There's two contractors. There's the guy that's working his ass off for next to nothing. But let's just say, for example, we got $1 million contractor. And just for easy math, they make 20 points. Let's just say, we're not going to talk about gross profit. We're just going to say, let's just say bottom, they make 20 points. Okay, everybody's $200,000, right? In profit.
Gross profit.
Yeah, gross profit. Everybody good? Okay, good. Contractor B goes and does 30 points. So that's 300,000, correct? Bob? Okay. Here we go, people. So the delta between the two is 300 minus 200, right? One makes 300, then one makes 200, right, Bob? Beauty. So it's $100,000. So contractor A, here we go. Bob's like, see, told you. So you guys are gonna be like, hey, what's the point, Andrew? Well, hang on, here we go. For contractor A to make what contractor B made, guess what? To make up $100,000, everybody, how much sales does that contractor A have to do to make up for the delta of 100,000? I'm just gonna tell you. 500,000 times 0.2 is what? 100. What? Yeah, that's right. So contractor A would have to do $1.5 million versus contractor B that does it at $1 million for the same profit. Oh, this is the part I love. Only if you know contractors like we do, right, Kayla, Bob, me? This happens. How many more quotes would you have to do? How many more trucks would that guy need? How many more callbacks? How many more systems would just fucking get destroyed because they've had to increase by 50%? So if you're on, what's that?
How many more employees?
How many more employees? Guys, honest to God, like, are you with me here? Hello? If you're ever thinking, like, what is it? Hello, McFly? Hello, right? Seriously, guys, if you're wondering, like, where the fuck are all my profits going and I'm making more sales, by the way, this is just one insight, okay? Let alone all the legal costs that you're gonna have to pay because you're screwing up all these jobs, right? You got all these clients that are unhappy, right? So
you're taking on shitty clients because they're lower priced jobs.
Woo! So guys, if that doesn't get your attention, okay? So I guess my little wrap up is this. My last little thing that I would comment on is this. And here's the brutal, I think, reality for a lot of us. A lot of us, look, I was a contractor, everybody, okay? I think everybody knows this by now. I was a contractor. And for a lot of the time, I probably showed myself as Mr. Tuffy. And I was a bit of a hard ass and all the rest of that kind of stuff. I played hard, all the rest. But part of my identity and how I presented myself was because there was a lot of times I was scared. Okay? A lot of times where I wanted to just say I knew something I didn't really know. So if there's somebody on here and there's a contractor, and maybe it's the spouse, maybe it's the admin person, maybe it's somebody, that's, like, hey, I think I understand how to do liens, or I understand how to do the bookkeeping or the accounting, or even running a business, and I don't need a coach or whatever. But they're a little bit intimidated, right? They're a little bit like, I don't know, like a little bit scared. What would you say to them? Kayla, what would you say? Like to engage with you guys, as an example.
Yeah, I mean, I think I would say the exact same thing that you've said all along, which is engage with the right professionals. You got to get the right people around you. So if someone called me and said, I think I know someone who knows a little bit about liens, I mean, that's great. If they do, then that's great. But I'd probably have a chat with them, and I'd like to know what their understanding is. I'd try to fill in the gaps in their understanding. And look, if your brother-in-law can register a lien for you for free, that's great. But my experience is that most people who call me and say, oh, my sister's husband has a friend and he said this and he told me that my lien rights won't expire until next May, it's usually not the right advice. So I think, as you always say, Andrew, surround yourself with the right people. Pay for what's going to get you the results that you want.
Yeah, and it's a really good point that I think we talked about a little bit regarding, it's not just about knowing, it's about keeping up with what you need to know, because things are constantly changing. Okay, so maybe something advice buddy had was based upon freaking 3 years ago. Things have changed, guys, and if you're like, well, what's the changes? You need to be with the people that are, this is what Kayla does, right? Kayla focuses on making sure that she's completely up to date. Actually, Kayla's even forget beyond being up to date. I'm not saying forget it, but Kayla and Bob are part of Proper Contractors, so that they bring advice, they bring training, things of this nature. There's many calls that we've had where Kayla's on an education session going, hey guys, just to give you a heads up, right? Right, Kayla?
Where it's like, we're looking at some of these changes haven't been.
Right, it's new, or it's coming down the pipe, or they're talking about this, hold off on this, pay close attention to this because it's going to change in like 2 months' time. I'll keep you guys posted. Like, guys, I don't have time for that shit. Sorry. No, seriously, I don't. Guys, you shouldn't, but Kayla takes the time for it, okay? Bob, what would you say if somebody's like a little bit intimidated and engaging with you guys? Or with Proper Contractors?
Yeah, so I think, I kind of mentioned it before, there's a big cost associated with not doing things properly. Whether it's legally, whether it's from a tax or an accounting standpoint, or whether it's running your business in the wrong way. There's multiple benefits to providing yourself with the right advisors in whatever area, whether it's a coach, whether it's a legal representative or an accounting representative. And part of the value is that reassurance that things are going to be okay, right? That's the negative value that's attached to it is you pay this money, you're going to know that you're not going to fail in these certain ways, right? That your stuff is going to be filed properly, you're going to be able to sleep at night, you're going to stay out of legal trouble, or that you're protected, or that, you've got the ability to get feedback on how you're running your business, right? All those three things are like the one element of creating certainty in your life. And during times of a global pandemic, what more do we need than certainty in our lives right now? That's the base element. The second element is looking at these advisors and going, okay, what are the strategic opportunities? And I can tell you that working with Profit for Contractors, we have provided so many different strategic ideas for people over the last 4 months, right? And meeting with clients, doing those calculations that show you, you know what, let's do 80% of the work and make twice as much money. We can show you exactly how to do that, right? There's that whole upside and the coaching piece. showing people, and Andrew and his team getting on a coaching call and saying, this is how we did it, and having 10 people in there who said, no, this is how you do it, because they've done it 100 times.
Yep.
Guys, paying for that advice and paying for the association, the affiliates, the strategic partnerships that are encompassed in a Profit for Contractors. Let me take a step back. I don't work for Profit for Contractors. We have a great we have a great strategic partnership, but I got to tell you, man, I work with contractors who aren't part of PFC and those that are, and the PFC clients are kicking ass. And kudos to Andrew and his team, but that is why you invest in this. You invest in these business coaches and these advisors, because we've seen it 500 times, and we'll tell you how to do it right.
Yep.
If you do it wrong,
I gotta echo what Bob said about the. Sorry, Bob, to interrupt you, but I totally agree with you about the PFC contractors.
Yeah, kicking ass.
They do kick ass.
Yeah.
It's true, and they kick ass because they've got kick-ass community around them. So let's start wrapping this baby up. And here's where I'm gonna get you guys to say what's your final snapshot piece that you'd leave them with, Kayla.
I think it's the same thing we've said all along. You've got to be organized. You've got to know what you got to know, right? I'm sure Bob is going to say the same thing, so I don't want to step on his toes, but you've got to know what your financial information is. You've got to know what your contractual obligations are with your client. You've got to know when your lien rights expire. You've got to be organized, and you've got to get the right people around you to help you get organized. Because like you say, Andrew, you don't have time to do everything.
No, it's true. It's true. Bob, your last little words?
Yeah. If you don't have certainty over how your business is performing, connect with us. Connect with Andrew's team. If you don't have certainty over what's happening, you need us to play that part. If you want to take your business to the next level, you come in and you work with Profit for Contractors. It's not a hard decision when it comes down to this. If you are that type of entrepreneur, then you want to take your business to the next level, create a new life for your family, something that you're proud of, create a legacy, create financial freedom in your lives. You team up with the right advisors, and they can help guide you step by step on how to get there. And that's exactly what working with PFC can do. And you know what? If that's not a right fit for you, that's totally fine, because I can tell you the people I want to work with are the people who want to get to the next level. So if you're one of those people, come find us, Gauvreau CPA. We would love to work with you.
Okay, and Kayla, where are they going to find you? I mean, guys, we're going to put the links down below, but Kayla, where would they find you?
Yep, Kayla Kwinter, Kwinter spelled with a K, Kwinter. Torkin Mains LLP is my law firm, so you can find us online, and you can always get my contact information from Andrew or anyone else at PFC.
Love it. Okay, so here's my little wrap up. And everybody knows I'm a storyteller. I can't help it. I'm first generation Canadian, parents from Ireland. My dad and my mom, they can tell stories all day long. So here's a little story. Picture like you're going to get on the field, okay? And you're going to go against another team. You look across, right? And you see that there's this team, and they've got this, and let's say that the game that we're playing is business. Across the field, they've got this legal coach. They got this accounting coach. They got marketing and sales. They got and these people are experts. Like, you look at these people, and when you look at the Rolodex of what their background is, like, holy shit! Look at all the success stories these people have had. Look at Bob's helped all these people. Kayla's helped all these people. Like, real life, real time. And then you got, mindset coach. What do you mean mindset? Yeah, man, we got to work harder on our minds than actually we do our business. Okay, this is actually more mindset than anything that we've talked about. It's shifting how you see yourself and your identity as a champion CEO, or as Bob in the truck, right? Like, just pushing through, or Sarah in the truck, right? So picture you're about to go on this field. Then you take a step back and you look behind you. And the only person that you're able to see is if you grab a mirror and look at it. Trust me, your ass is going to be given to you. You can have all the right intention, and you could be the best skilled, whatever that one thing is. You're going to get your clock cleaned. Why? Because that other team has got such an advantage over you. So if you want to dominate your market, You want to dominate your business. You want to get your profits to pay for your freedom. And so much of this, we talk about business, but it feeds your life, guys. If most of your life is your business and it's because you have to, then you're doing something wrong. And it's not because of your passion or your drive or your commitment. And tradespeople get stuck with this one mindset. We think that because we come from the world of working hard and putting in time for money, that's where our definition of value is. You got to shift it. You have to shift it from it's not your time and value, it's who's surrounding you. So you can do as little as possible and get as much as possible. It's called leverage. Less is more. All right, guys, we'll catch you on the flip. Thanks, you two rock stars. I love you. I love that you're part of our community. Keep bringing your A game because you're helping A players become the best they can. And I love you. Catch you later. Ciao.
See you guys.
See ya.
Thanks, Andrew. Bye, guys.
Thanks.